That episode was almost entirely set up, but hey, I still loved it. What's going on, YouTube? Welcome to We Sibs, West Coast, East Coast siblings, where we break down your favorite movies and TV shows. And yes, we're kicking off 2022 with one of my favorite shows from last year, Superman and Lois. We're in season 2 now, and if you're new here, I'm going to break down the 3 biggest takeaways from the episodes, the thing that you need to know about these episodes. And of course, I'm going to give my thoughts, reactions, and comments. So hit the subscribe button and click the bell if that sounds good to you, and let's dive right into it. First off, one thing I love about Superman and Lois is that it unleashes Superman. It doesn't hold him back in any way, like Smallville or Lois and Clark, where we get the full suit from day one. There's good background and good story, but we get plenty of action, and they definitely didn't shy away from that here in this first episode with Superman saving a Chinese tank and, using, it was like a super sensory episode. He was using his supervision and hearing to detect different threats and deal with those. But we'll get more on that a little bit later. Starting off with big takeaway number 1, a character who I had no feelings about and now I'm not really digging at all, and that is Natalie Irons, aka the daughter of John Henry Irons, or Lex Luthor, kind of an amalgamation of all those characters. It kind of picks up right where we left off. Natalie gets to our universe and she sees Lois and thinks it's her mom. Now, I don't know how much John told his daughter about how the multiverse works, but it seems like a very minimum base understanding of the multiverse is different people, same faces. Different people, same faces. It's not going to be the same story, the same relation with every version of your mom. But she didn't get the memo, I guess, and she goes charging for Lois, like, Mom, and Lois understandably gives her the cold shoulder, and that kind of puts a divide between there, and that sends Natalie on a spiral. Now, I think she overreacts to a lot of things, but I understand her plight. I understand her issue. The overreaction definitely came from, she said she's been there. At one point she told her dad, I've been here for 3 months, and that's long enough to understand I don't belong. I don't think so. You know, you lived your whole life in the other universe, establishing connections and history and backstory and stuff. This isn't even, and that wasn't even half your life. Hopefully she'll have many more years in this universe, almost got tongue twisted there, to establish those connections, those relationships and stuff like that. And she's still very angry that the people that she was close to in her universe don't feel the same way. But again, different people, same faces. I mean, she'd be lucky to have the same situation but even if they did feel a certain way toward Natalie, then where's that Earth's Natalie? Because what, are you just going to replace them? Like, are you going to get rid of them and then just replace them? They don't know you. At one point, she got really mad. She was like, my best friends looked right past me like I didn't exist. And John told her, it's because you don't really exist as far as they're concerned, right? They don't know you. So maybe try to befriend them, but honestly, just look for new people to create these relationships with. And I understand that's a hard thing, and she is a teenager, so she's kind of looking at it like the sky is falling, but it just seems a little irrational. They're playing up that teenage angst thing, I think, just a little too much. They're cranking it up to 12. But I think that Natalie's character is one that will develop and grow, and actually, spoiler warning, obviously, for the episode, by the end of it, she ends up living with the Kent family. Now, I'll just say, if I were Superman, I would not be happy with my wife's husband from another universe sharing the space. It seems like you're asking for trouble. And it's not fair to him either. He's got all these emotions and stuff, and it's an unnecessary burden for Lois to have that in the house. And if I were John Henry Irons, I wouldn't want my daughter living with 2 teenage boys, as we get into big takeaway number 2, who are getting increasingly frisky with the ladies there. So big takeaway number 2, Jonathan is caught being intimate with his girlfriend Candace from the last season in their room, and they're kind of like totally polar opposite reactions from Superman and Lois. Superman completely acts like it's no big deal, while Lois is going like off the rails, and understandably so. I mean, this is a very dangerous thing. It's something that should be handled responsibly in the context of marriage. So the fact that he was just going all willy-nilly in his parents' house was completely disrespectful, and I understand why Lois had such an issue with that. But Superman's like, oh, hey, don't use the emergency call thing for me to just break up my son doing some really irresponsible stuff with this young woman. But as these boys kind of are growing up and developing, they both have love interests now. And Lois is like, well, then what? And that was Jonathan. So she's like, what is Jordan doing? Because he's been out all day with Sarah. And Sarah is kind of giving him the cold shoulder. We don't know why. She's making up excuses why she can't be around him or with him. Maybe she's uncomfortable. But I think she's hiding something. Now, obviously, there's so much action and a big development, the biggest takeaway from this episode. But before we get to that, a couple of small things that we have to keep an eye on. First is the mayor, Mayor Hart, Daniel Hart, who's running for mayor. And last time we saw a big shot come into town and kind of try and take over. That was Morgan Edge, and we saw how that ended. So we're going to want to keep an eye on that as it develops and not let it go under the radar all season, as he may end up being more sinister than we first thought. And he's closely entangled with Lana and Kyle, her husband, as Lana is helping him with the campaign and stuff, and Kyle is off doing other things. He's such a non-character. But let me know in the comments what you thought of that. And then finally, guys, getting into big takeaway number 3. But before we do, hit the sub button and click the bell if you're enjoying it thus far. And with that big takeaway number 3, we have some government agents with Superman-like powers running around in Smallville. It's like, why do they care to test these people out in Smallville? Well, it was a hotbed in the last season for what Morgan Edge was doing with those kryptonite mines. And that makes me think that potentially these people are maybe Smallvillians who have some remaining Superman-like powers in them. We were pretty sure we dealt with all of them in the last season, but who knows, maybe the government kept some in some sort of protective cage environment so that they could train them and use them. And the general, I think his name was Arnold or something, correct me in the comments down below, but he was basically saying, Superman, look, General Lane is gone. Now I'm the liaison. I know everything about you, but I need your commitment to the U.S., right? And this, at face value, sounds right. Like, Superman's always been an American hero. He's just, an American guy. You used to seeing Superman with the American flag and stuff like that. And he says he gave his oath to the world a long time ago. So I don't know. Comically, I don't know if that's super accurate. He's always been like a world superhero for sure, but he's super pro-America. Even in the Man of Steel movies, Henry Cavill's Superman was like, come on. He was like, how do I know you'll be loyal to the U.S.? And Superman says, come on, I was born in Kansas, right? So it's kind of always been a given that Superman was going to, defend America and hold them in the highest regard, but obviously be a world superhero. I mean, he's got to protect where he lives, and he lives in the U.S. But he seems to be shying away from that. I don't know. I don't want to make it more than it is, but he doesn't seem too gung-ho about protecting America's interests primarily or even first. So the new general goes and lets out some superpowered beings, which I'm just going to imagine are going to turn evil. I hope that this isn't the beginning of a pattern of them just taking people with Superman's abilities and making them fight Superman. It was a great first season type of thing, but I think it could start to get old. Certainly if they do it 2 seasons in a row. But with that, looking forward to the next episode, we heard an earthquake. Something happened. Now, this didn't make sense because Superman was using his super senses the whole episode to detect all these different threats. He heard a submarine in China imploding. Okay, I think it was China. And he can go do that. But then right under his own city, there's some sort of machine. I thought it was Doomsday until I saw the electronic something glove. There was like a power beam looking thing on his glove punching down in the rocks. And it looked really, really deep down. I mean, miles for sure. Yeah, miles. I would say maybe a mile or so. Maybe more. I digress. But this is going to be one of the big bads, you can already tell, for this season. So, definitely happy. Definitely sets up a lot for this season to be going on between Natalie and Lois and their relationship, between Superman and the U.S. government, and then also between Jordan and Jonathan and their lady friends. So let me know what you thought of this episode down in the comments below. I'd love to chat it up with you guys. As always, we got a ton of shows for 2022. Myself, Sid, and also Jay Latacuente will be joining us this year to cover even more shows. We got Servant Season 3 coming. We've got Snowpiercer coming. We've got Raised by Wolves coming. So you're not going to want to miss hit the subscribe button and click the bell. Also, the new show Naomi is out on the CW. If you'd like me to review that, or maybe Sid, comment down below with the show name and then who you want to cover it. Please say Sid, because it's not that. I mean, I'm just afraid that it might end up being like The Flash. But who knows? I should give it the benefit of the doubt, right? We'll see. Hit the subscribe button and click the bell. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Peace!